Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Joining me in our Trailblazer segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames, today we're featuring Monica Morales, a six-time Emmy Award winner. You can catch her in her Monica Makes It Happen franchise, weeknights at 5:55 p.m. on PIX11 News. She fights for underserved families across the tri-state area, investigates stories that matter, and helps connect resources to communities in need. Today, we're chatting women in media, her incredible career, and how she balances her mom and work life. Whether they were the voices over the microphone, the brains behind the operations, or the skilled technicians building the television masts and installing the radio valves, women have always played a role in getting information to the masses. Yet, women in media are still vastly underrepresented as men continue to dominate newsrooms across America. Men account for 70% of quoted sources and 66% of experts in all news stories, while female voices are still taking a back seat. Only 40% of TV news sources were women, while radio had only 36% and newspapers barely 28%. Despite facing gender based challenges and discrimination, women have persisted in their pursuit of truth and storytelling. The involvement of women in journalism has evolved over time. In the past, women's voices were often excluded or marginalized in the media industry. However, pioneering women journalists, both past and present, have fought for equal opportunities and representation in this male dominated profession. And trailblazers like Monica are paving the way, going where there is no path and leaving one great big trail. Welcoming now to the show is the incredible Monica Morales. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you so much. I'm a fan of yours. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I think what you do is so exciting because you're a connector just like I am. I try to connect resources to communities and connect people. And what you're doing is the exact same thing. And you're bringing phenomenal content to people that need it the most. And that's why I was so excited to hear from you and to be asked to be on the show.
I'm so excited to have you. It's such an honor. You are a trailblazer in your field. Tell us, Monica, about your journey in the field of journalism and how you became a reporter at PIX11 News.
First of all, this is very uncomfortable for me. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth because normally I'm on this side, I'm on your side asking, and I actually want you on my show at PIX11. I think what you're doing is amazing. So it's very uncomfortable. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. And as women, I think it's okay for us to just say, okay, I'm uncomfortable here talking about myself. And I want you to know I'm wearing sequins, not just for you, but I'm doing a Latina luncheon here in Long Island, honoring some of the biggest and most powerful business leaders, community champions that happen to be Hispanic women. And I think a focus for me has always been people that look like my mom, because I think you attract what you are. And my mother was Bolivian, and for so many years, she was undervalued. Under-respected, all the unders, right? And so I watched that happen. And I think, sometimes if it's hysterical, it's historical for me. And so I became this champion for women, specifically women who I felt were being undervalued, underrepresented, giving them a bigger voice and using television and social media to do that. And I think what I've seen and why I started was, first of all, my mom learned English watching television, and she worked 3 jobs just to get us to the home that we were in. And she worked so hard her whole life. And she didn't have a high school diploma. She didn't go to college, but she was the smartest woman that I ever met. She was street smart. And I always respected that about her, her work ethic and the fact that she never gave up. And so that keeps me going as well, because as you know, television and media can be very difficult, and you get a lot of no's. I've probably gotten hundreds of no's for every idea that I have presented. And sometimes it's just that moment of never giving up, believing in it, just like you probably have with the show, and knowing that this is the future of media, is talking to women like us who are making it happen. And we do have the power. I think a lot of times when I would present it, it's men and women, and we love our men too, because they support us every single day. But it is the women that are the head of the household and that make the key decisions.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And a
Buying
big,
power too, right?
yeah.
Buying
Oh,
power too.
For
And so
sure.
they're always surprised when top 10 trending stories aren't the negative stories, but they're the solution based stories, the action stories that we do to create not just change, but to connect people. And that's what I'm most excited about. The opportunity that we have today is that people watching may say, this might be a good way to, like, maybe I'll meet that person. I'll meet. That's what I'm always trying to do is I'm trying to make the connections
An
happen.
amazing connection. Yes. And
That's all I am. That's all
a
it is
and I
connecting.
want to say a big congrats to you because this year you received the Zonta Club of New York's Distinguished Women of the Year Award. And this is for advocacy, social justice, and empowering women at their centennial celebration, a group active in the United Nations advocating for gender equality and women's human rights worldwide. I wanted to point that out because that is quite the impressive award. Now, what is the biggest challenge you face as a female media personality, and how do you overcome it?
Telling the stories that I really want to tell. And I'm very fortunate. I've been in the business for several decades now, so I'm now at that point where I'm in the juice of what I'm supposed to do. Because now I don't have to fight as hard, but I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting to get certain stories on. And for me, the stories that make me excited are the ones that don't want to be told. Usually, it's the women who don't want to be on TV or don't want their stories, or those kind of things where they're not asking for any attention. I love shining a very big light on women who are making incredible contributions in their communities that you normally get no recognition whatsoever. And again, it goes back to my mother, who, again, did not get any help, did not get any respect. And I watched her life, and she had a really hard life. And I think talking about it now, I still get really emotional about it. And I think that's what carries me, and that's what moves me forward. And I know she's not alone. I know a lot of women watching, and I know a lot of probably men too, who feel that they're not being listened to or respected. Maybe it's because of where they're from or what their education background is. And I'm here to say it doesn't matter. It's our mindset, right? It's what we think we can do. And my mom, she knew she was better than what was being done and given to her. So she would push forward, and she saw me, and she's like, I'm going to have a daughter that maybe will push through too. So that's what keeps me going. And I
I
always go
love
back
it.
to her. I don't even know why. She's like my everything. She's
I
been gone about.
clearly you love mom, and I love that you love mom, and you
And
are
I
a
love that you're a
trailblazer.
mom. I love
Oh,
that you're a mom. I love that I'm a mom, and that we're able to talk about that, because this morning I was putting on my sequins for this event, and I knew I had to talk to you. Big show, millions of people watching. And I was like, oh, I'm wearing sequins, and look at me. And then there was this French fry on the floor, and that's the McDonald's French fry. Probably my kid dropped it, like, I don't know how long ago. And my life can be such a mess. And the thing is, we still keep going. We still keep doing our best and putting our best foot forward. And I think that I attract, and I love the stories of the doers, the people who are doing things and are in the tank fighting the fight every single day. Because it's really easy to judge people when you're not doing anything,
yeah, and here's what we will say. I'm going to shout out now because throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, notable figures such as Nellie Bly, Ida B. Wells, and Dorothy Parker emerged as trailblazers, defying societal expectations and really using journalism as a tool of social change, just like you. And their courageous investigative reporting and fearless commentary on issues such as gender equality and civil rights and political corruption laid the foundation really for future generations of women journalists. So you're doing a great job. Now, you've been awarded a national Emmy for breaking news, 6 local Emmys, and an award, the Edward T. Murrow Award for investigative series and reporting. These are all very impressive. In fact, in 2020, you also won a continuing coverage Emmy for your Monica Makes It Happen series. And in 2022, we're nominated for a community service Emmy for your daily coverage of New York City's housing crisis, food insecurity, and healthcare inequalities. And of course, you have visited, as we know, over 200 housing developments and helped fix hundreds of homes and restore the heat and hot water to more than 100 buildings. My question, Monica, is why aren't you running for mayor?
Well, I do get that question a lot, and I am so honored to even be thought of that way. But I think for me, I love the story. I always chase the story, and for me, that's why I want you on my show, because I want to ask you all these questions. I have so many questions for you, but I love getting stuff done, and I love the power that TV gives us and social media, because people who normally for years were struggling to get any sort of attention, we show up. And again, I have this, I'm like a SWAT team. I go in and I go out. I don't have a lot of time because I have that 4, 5, and 6 and 10 deadlines every day. And just that 2 minutes of television, 2 minutes of social media, and for you, it's your show. You get to do so much with just that. So why not do it, right? Why not use that?
100%.
And I've asked so many bosses in my past, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I? And we didn't call it the Monica Makes It Happen, because between you and me, it's the community that makes it happen. It's our viewers that make it happen. But I'm getting the credit just because, well, it's me presenting it, but it's not really me. It's the community. And what I love about it is that it is that light that goes off. It is that energy that's created when we present the story, and then all of a sudden people come out of the woodwork. They want to help. They want to create a prom for a Bed-Stuy high school. They want to give track shoes to a track team in Newark. They want to, it's like, that's power. And so whatever little power that I have as a reporter, as an investigative reporter, I want to use it, because I feel like, why not? Like, what's a better way? And at first it was really simple, and you're going to probably connect with this, is if I'm going to leave my children every day and I'm going to miss those moments and leave them, I better do something that's really important that they're going to be proud of one day. And that's what I don't know. I was always thinking that in my head. Like, if my daughter Googles me one day, I want her to be like, wow, my mom really made a difference. She really did something.
Aw, you
Because
are
I know
so
my mom,
right.
I feel that way about my mom. So I'm like, I just want my daughter to feel the same way. And it's just that simple. It's just, I want to be the mom that my mom was for me. And I know if she was given the ability, she would have been a CEO. She would have been probably a mayor, and she would have made things happen, but she wasn't given the opportunity. So here we are sitting today on the shoulders of all these beautiful women. And I really believe that we're all connected in some wonderful way. And
Of course we are. Of course we are. I'm going to cut to a commercial break. I'll be right back, because I have so much more to ask you, especially how has social media, of course, impacted the way you gather news and interact with your audience. That's something I want to come back to, but we're going to cut to a commercial break. Guys, you have to check out Monica Morales. Amazing. She's on PIX11 News, where you could head directly on the gram at Monica Morales TV. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcoming back to our Trailblazer segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames. We're chatting with the incredible Monica Morales. Welcome back, my friend.
Hi, good to be back.
Okay, so let's jump right in here. I tell people all the time, of course, social media is key in promoting your brand, your business, right? We live in the digital age, and female TV personalities have leveraged technology and, of course, social media platforms to reach wider audiences and foster engagement. We've used our reporting skills to shed light on important stories, to initiate conversations and build communities around issues that matter, just like you do every single day. And of course, our contributions in media are invaluable to our society, Monica. Our dedication to truth, to fairness, accuracy, all of those above have shaped public discourse and of course led to all of these transformative changes. And by continuing to champion gender equality in the media industry, we continue to pave the way for future generations, like you said, and inspiring aspiring journalists to follow their passion and make their voices heard. Tell me, Monica, how has social media impacted specifically the way that you gather news and interact with your audience?
It's everything. As you know, it's everything. The power of social media and television together, it brings together politics, the politicians, the people making it happen, the community leaders. We've seen magic happen once we present on Twitter, Facebook. I mean, as soon as we tweet something or we post it on TikTok, I just recently started TikTok, which I'm embarrassed to say to your audience because they're like, oh God, but I just did. And it's about reaching as many people as possible and also holding those in power accountable. And they completely change between you and me when they know you're live, right? I mean, I think I'm the same person on and off usually, and you are too. Actually, just knowing you and getting to know you these last few days. But some people are completely different publicly. So when you have that live button on, they'll say, "Oh, we're going to work on that, or we're going to get that done," and it moves things along much faster. I mean, people have waited years for change in their homes and their communities. We connect them with corporate nonprofits and city, state, and federal agencies to get things done. And I'm so excited about that. Like fixing homes, it's not just about that, it's about fixing communities and creating solutions together. Because just with your show, you're bringing together, I mean, people that would normally probably never meet. And now I'm going to Google that person. I'm going to connect with that person. I'm going to go on LinkedIn. There's so many possibilities, when you have this platform and you have people listening, you have the audience.
Exactly. Now, how do you balance the responsibility of delivering news accurately and fairly, but also still engaging your viewers? Because, the mundane gets mundane. They want like the cool breaking stories or
Yeah.
the stories of vengeance or betrayal or, how do you balance it?
I like those stories too sometimes, but I don't think it should be a majority of the coverage. And I think that's the old way of looking at news. If it bleeds, it leads. That was the old school way of looking at things. Being in people's living rooms of every neighborhood in New York City. Now I've had that ability to be in so many different neighborhoods over and over again. People trust me. They know that when I get there, they want to see me. They open the door because they know that I'm there to help. I think building that trust is number one, but it takes, years to do that. But I think it is that trust. First, building that trust, knowing that I'll be there. I'm not like, I am in the studio, but I spend most of my time out in the field in people's homes. And I think they understand that. So many of them have met me face to face, like I'm in the communities. And I think that also helps a lot is that, oh, she's been in my community center. She sees what it really is. And so I think that's different than just being on TV. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm in the neighborhoods. I'm every day.
You are everywhere. That's why I said you should run for mayor at some point. Well, I would vote for you. Now,
I'd vote for you. I'd vote for you. What are you talking about?
It's true. We'll both run together. Now, you are a married mom of two. You live in New York City with a very fast-paced career. How do you balance it all?
It's rough. Remember I was texting you? I was actually in a cab because I had to buy this hat for the luncheon. I don't own a hat. I don't wear hats because it messes up your hair. But it's really hard. It's really hard. And I know that I'm hoping today I get to see my kids. I get to pick them up today. We'll see after this luncheon. But I haven't had a day off in a very long time. So it does wear on you. So the weekends are sacred for me. Like that's when I'm with my kids and my husband. And my husband does kind of get a backseat to everything sometimes because I'm so focused on my kids, my work, my kids, and social media. That's a full-time job too. I'm constantly posting. And that takes a lot of energy too. But I mean, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I worked so hard for this to sit in this position and to be here. I know you did too. And so when we actually get to do this, it's like, I almost want to like just take it in. I was on the Coast Guard boat. I don't know if you saw that story. I think you commented on it.
I did.
I was at the Coast Guard with the first African-American woman at the top of the Coast Guard. She's in charge of all the New York and New Jersey waters. And she literally closed off all of the Hudson River for us for the shoot. And I literally in that moment, Zen, I was like, let me just take this in. Like, let me just take this moment in. I looked at the NYPD. I love the NYPD. I looked at, the Intrepid. And I was like, this is just the moment, like, who gets to do this? Like, I get to do this. Now, there are days where I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to do this. Like, it's really hard. There's some days where, you get a lot of pushback, and I can talk to you a little bit about that as well. It isn't always, wine and roses when you are challenging the powers that be. But what I've noticed is that if you tell the truth and you can back up the truth, usually that does set you free.
You are so right. I always say that, and when I had Alexa 2016. She's 7 years old now. My moral compass went from 0 to 60 overnight. And, being in the industry, being in media, being in entertainment, reporting, I always say I'm not reactive news, I'm proactive news. I always, the stories, yeah, the stories I report are evergreen. You can pick anything from our channel and it'll matter even 5 years from now, because we don't necessarily react to what's happening in the headliners. We are proactive about it, in the sense that even if there's something negative happening, we're going to talk about where's the silver lining there, and how do you make it better, and how do you learn from it. If there's a deal breaking on, on Wall Street, if there's a cryptocurrency exchange collapsing like FTX, and you have tons of bad actors in the game, then my reporting is not going to be on how many years they're going to get in jail. My reporting is going to be on, well, how do we fix it and regulate it so that the industry doesn't encounter bad actors like this, and call in the experts to come onto the show so we can all collectively come up with the best form of education, so we could tackle the problem from a place of knowledge, because knowledge is power. So, it's extremely, extremely important to do the research, to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. Now, you know this more than anything else as a journalist. The role of local news is extremely important in society. How does PIX11 News fulfill that role?
Well, what you just said was amen. Like, that is exactly right. I mean, we have to get it right, because it's again back to trust and resiliency. Like, we pick up the story and then we keep at it. We just keep at it. I keep going back, because so many times we get bored as the news media and we move on so quickly. We have to keep going. You have to keep on the story. And that's what I love about my Follow-Up Fridays. I do something called Follow-Up Friday, where we make sure on Fridays that I always go back to the story, so we see the completion of the work. And a lot of times agencies know that we're coming back, so they'll get it done, and they know the timeline. People told me I was crazy. You can't fix this, before 5 o'clock, or you can't fix this before Friday. Wouldn't you know it? Many of the stories get done quicker and faster when there is a deadline and there is a strategy to that. And is it crazy? It's a little bit, yeah. And is it unfair? Maybe sometimes. But for most of the stories that I do, when I do tell these big agencies, corporations, we need to have this done by 5 or by Friday, or give them a deadline, things usually work out just as we want them to, and that is the action for the viewer, what they need fixed, and it's just that simple. And sometimes I'm amazed by how quickly agencies that are usually notorious for taking forever to do things, because that is the truth. The red tape is just kind of cut right through, and that is the magic of social media, shows like yours, TV, and us coming together and focusing on it, because it's really about us putting the content out there, but it's also about the audience listening
and receiving it. Yes.
Yeah. And there's this new compassion too, I think, for communities, because we're starting to understand that sometimes we have to come up with our own solutions to things. If, let's say, big agencies are not doing it, we need to come up with our own solutions. And who's the most powerful people that you could possibly talk to are the moms, usually the women in the communities that we're talking about. And they're the ones on the front line. So empowering women is pretty much the easiest and the fastest solution to most of our problems.
You said it. Wow, you said it. Well, we are out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. What an incredible, incredible interview. You are amazing. Thank you for everything you do.
Well, you know what? I think the best thing that I got out of this was about your show. I'm going to watch it now regularly. I'm going to make sure to make an appointment. Now I can't say TV, appointment viewing. And I'm going to I would love to stay connected with you. And I want you on PIX11. I want you to come on our show and talk about what you do, maybe on a regular basis too. Just let me know what you're up to. Okay.
Absolutely. You got it. You got a friend in me. You got a partner in me. We will do this together, and we can come up with a million different ways to continue reaching the community, but empowering women, educating women, financial literacy for women. I'm done seeing women have to follow or live in the shadow of a man and have to be completely dependent on them. This is time that we all really kind of, listen, I love our men too. I've been married for 15 years. My husband is incredible, but there are women out there that don't have incredible men. And so for those women, and for women, for girls throughout this entire world, it's extremely important for us to be able to stand independently on our own before we even engage in any kind of relationship or marriage, because that is the foundation of everything.
So true. And so many men have given me an opportunity in the media. I've had so many great male bosses who have helped tremendously to kind of just uplift. And of course, my husband as well. We've traded roles a little bit because he picks up the kids and he makes the lunches and he does, and he's completely fine. So behind every great woman, there is a man there
100%.
that's helping.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. We love our boys. Well, God, thank you so much, Monica. I'm definitely coming on your show.
Talk to you forever. All right. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, you definitely have to check out Monica Morales. Check her out on the gram at Monica Morales TV. And listen, in this ever-evolving media landscape, women journalists bring unique perspectives, challenge conventional narratives, and contribute to a more inclusive and equitable journalism industry. Our invaluable contributions have undoubtedly enriched the field, making it more diverse, representative, and of course, impactful. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.